Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome back to COEIN Clinicals. Today we're going to be discussing about heavy menstrual bleeding. So heavy menstrual bleeding was previously defined as more than 80 ml per 80 ml loss of blood per period, but now it has been defined as excessive menstrual blood loss, which interferes with the physical aspect of life, social aspect of life, and also the emotional aspect of life. So heavy menstrual bleeding, whenever you get a question regarding it, what you need to know is about a mnemonic of palm coin. Okay, so this is going to be all about the structural factors which leads to the heavy menstrual bleeding, one being the polyp. Okay, it could be any polyp, endometrial polyp, especially cervical polyp. Then there's going to be adenomyosis. Adenomyosis is when the endometrial tissue and the glands, they actually infiltrate into the myometrium. So this is your endometrium. From this, the tissue is going to enter into the myometrium. So that's going to lead to what? Excessive bleeding. Why? Because this endometrial tissue, which was deposited within the myometrium, it's going to go through the cyclical changes that is this endometrium going to go through. So it is going to lead to heavy menstrual bleeding. Then there's going to be leiomyomas, which are basically what? Leiomyomas are the benign tumors of uterus, which is basically the encapsulated muscular tumors. Then there is going to be M, which is basically the malignancy of endometrium, alongside with that cervix as well. Then there is also the non-structural reasons for it, which is going to be COEIN. Now C is basically indicating toward coagulation disorders. Coagulation disorders, one being the von Willebrand factor disease. So a question or a vignette could say a girl basically starts to have excessive bleeding, even at the stage of menarche. So now, alongside with that, you could also be experiencing excessive blood loss on even minor injuries. That is going to indicate toward the coagulation disorders. Then O basically indicates for ovarian dysfunction, which over here would be PMOS, which is also known as polycystic ovarian syndrome, but now it has been changed to PMOS, which is polyendocrine metabolic ovarian syndrome. E basically stands for endometrial dysfunction. Then I over here stands for iatrogenic factors. Iatrogenic would be two things: either anticoagulation therapy, that is warfarin, and then, or it could also be what? The IUDs that are inserted. N is basically indicating the ones that are not classified yet, but it could be uterine arteriovenous malformations or thyroid dysfunctions. Okay, so one being thyroid dysfunctions and the other one being the arteriovenous malformations. Sorry for the handwriting, I'm not that good with that. Then it is going to be one thing that you need to know about the reasons why it actually happens. So one being the polyp. So what happens is that in polyp there's going to be increased surface area, due to which abnormal vessels, leading to excessive bleeding. The reason behind that. Then for the ovarian dysfunctions, in polycystic ovarian syndrome or polyendocrine ovarian syndrome, what happens is that there's unopposed estrogen, due to which the endometrium lining is going to be very unstable, overgrowth of endometrium, and when it actually breaks, it leads to irregular heavy shedding. Then endometrial dysfunction and also coagulopathies, as we've discussed, that clotting is itself is going to be defective in nature. So now we're going to be just discussing few of the NBME's questions or the UL vignettes that have been given. It could be a teenager girl with heavy menstrual bleeding since menarche. So since menarche, I'm just going to actually copy paste here for you guys so that it's easier for you to actually see these as well alongside with me discussing them. So okay, let's just add it here. Okay, so now teenagers with heavy menstrual bleeding since menarche, it would be von Willebrand disease, obese women with irregular cycle, that is polycystic ovarian syndrome, now referred as PMS, PMOS, and large irregular uterus. Large irregular uterus actually indicates toward the fibroids that are present within the uterus, and it is also going to have pressure effects on what? Bladder. So it could be urinary frequency, and even if females also experience UTIs. Postpartum or perimenopausal irregular bleeding, it is because of the endometrial hyperplasia. If there's going to be postcoital bleeding, whenever there is going to be post-coital bleeding, that is because of cervical pathology. That is one of the key factors. So whenever there's any pathology regarding cervix, they're going to be using the word post-coital bleeding. Thank you so much for joining.